One of the most overlooked signs that a man may be developing deeper feelings is a subtle shift in the kinds of questions he asks. In the beginning of most relationships, conversations tend to focus on the present. People ask about work, hobbies, weekend plans, favorite movies, daily routines, and other topics that help them get to know each other. These conversations are important because they build familiarity and comfort. But when a man's feelings begin to deepen, something often changes. He becomes less interested in simply learning about your current life and more interested in understanding your future. This shift is significant because it reveals where his mind is starting to go. A man who is only casually interested may enjoy spending time with you, but his curiosity usually stays focused on the immediate moment. He enjoys the connection for what it is today. A man who is falling in love often begins looking beyond today. He starts wondering where you see yourself in the future, what your goals are, what kind of life you want to build, and what matters most to you in the years ahead. Many women hear these questions and assume they are simply part of ordinary conversation. They answer politely and move on. What they often miss is the emotional meaning behind the curiosity. When a man asks about your future, he may not just be gathering information. He may be imagining possibilities. He may be quietly exploring whether your vision for life aligns with his own. The psychology behind this is simple. Human beings naturally think about the future when they become emotionally invested. When someone begins to matter deeply, the mind starts creating scenarios and possibilities. Instead of asking, do I enjoy spending time with this person? The question slowly becomes, could this person fit into the life I want to build? This transition often happens before a man fully understands the depth of his own feelings. That is why questions about dreams, goals, values, and long-term plans carry so much meaning. A man who asks where you would like to live one day, what you hope to accomplish, what kind of lifestyle makes you happy, or what you want your future relationships to look like is often seeking more than conversation. He is seeking compatibility. He wants to know whether your future and his future could potentially move in the same direction. Another reason these questions matter is that they demonstrate emotional curiosity rather than superficial interest. Physical attraction can create initial excitement, but genuine emotional attachment often creates a desire to understand someone's inner world. A man who is developing real feelings becomes interested in what motivates you, what inspires you, and what gives your life meaning. He wants to know not just who you are today, but who you hope to become. This kind of curiosity is powerful because it reflects investment. People generally do not spend significant emotional energy imagining futures that do not matter to them. When someone consistently asks thoughtful questions about your long-term goals and aspirations, it often indicates that they are considering your role in their own future as well. It is also important to notice the quality of these conversations. A man who is emotionally invested tends to listen carefully to your answers. He remembers details. He brings up previous discussions later. He connects your goals to future conversations. These behaviors show that he is not simply asking questions for the sake of talking. He genuinely cares about the answers. Perhaps most importantly, future-focused questions reveal hope. They suggest that he sees enough value in the connection to wonder what could come next. Even if he never says the words directly, his curiosity may be revealing feelings that are growing stronger with time. Because when a man starts asking about the life you want tomorrow, he may be quietly wondering whether he could be part of it. One of the clearest signs that a man's feelings are becoming deeper is when he starts showing genuine interest in what truly makes you happy. In the early stages of attraction, conversations often revolve around common interests, shared experiences, and getting to know basic facts about each other. But when emotional attachment begins to grow, the nature of his curiosity changes. He becomes less focused on surface-level information and more focused on understanding what brings real joy, fulfillment, peace, and meaning into your life. This shift is important because it reveals that he is beginning to care about your emotional experience, not just your presence. Many people can ask questions about favorite foods, movies, or hobbies. Those conversations are enjoyable and help create connection. But a man who is falling in love often starts asking deeper questions. He wants to know what excites you when you wake up in the morning. He wants to know what makes you feel proud of yourself. He becomes interested in the things that genuinely light you up from the inside. The psychology behind this is simple. When someone develops strong feelings, your happiness begins to matter to them. They do not just enjoy being around you. They enjoy seeing you fulfilled. Your smiles become meaningful. Your achievements become exciting. Your peace of mind becomes something they care about. This emotional investment naturally creates curiosity because they want to understand what contributes to your happiness and what takes away from it. Many women overlook this sign because the questions can seem ordinary at first. A man may ask what your ideal day looks like. He may ask what you would do if money were not a concern. He may want to know what activities make you lose track of time or what dreams you have never stopped believing in. On the surface, these questions seem casual, but underneath them is a desire to understand what truly matters to you. When a man becomes interested in your happiness, he is often trying to understand your emotional world. He wants to know what motivates you, what inspires you, and what gives your life purpose. This level of curiosity is different from simple attraction because it requires emotional attention. He is not just admiring you from a distance. He is trying to understand the experiences and values that make you who you are. Another reason this behavior is meaningful is that it reflects empathy. Empathy is one of the strongest foundations of emotional intimacy. A man who wants to know what makes you happy is often trying to see life through your eyes. He wants to understand what brings you comfort during difficult times, what creates excitement in your life, and what kind of future would make you feel fulfilled. This effort to understand another person's perspective is often a sign that emotional attachment is growing. It is also worth paying attention to what happens after these conversations. A man who is genuinely invested does not simply ask questions and forget the answers. He remembers details. He brings up things that matter to you weeks or even months later. He notices when something important is approaching. He remembers your goals, your passions, and the things you once mentioned in passing. These actions demonstrate that he is listening with genuine interest rather than making conversation for the sake of politeness. Perhaps most importantly, when a man's feelings deepen, your happiness starts becoming connected to his own emotional experience. Seeing you excited, peaceful, fulfilled, or successful brings him satisfaction because he cares about your well-being. This does not mean he becomes responsible for your happiness, but it does mean that your emotional state begins to matter to him in a way it did not before. Love often reveals itself through attention. It shows up in the questions people ask, the details they remember, and the effort they make to understand what truly matters to another person. When a man consistently wants to know what brings you joy, he may be doing much more than gathering information. He may be learning how to care for your heart, because when a man becomes deeply interested in what makes you happy, it is often a sign that your happiness is starting to become important to him too. One of the most meaningful signs that a man may be falling in love is when he becomes genuinely interested in your past, not to judge it, compare himself to it, or dwell on old memories, but to understand the experiences that shaped who you are today. Many women miss this sign because they assume he is simply being curious. In reality, when a man starts asking thoughtful questions about your life journey, your challenges, your successes, and the lessons you've learned, he may be trying to connect with you on a much deeper emotional level. In the beginning of most relationships, conversations tend to stay in the present. People talk about what they do, what they enjoy, and what is happening in their lives right now. These discussions help build familiarity, but they only reveal part of the story. As emotional attachment grows, many men begin wanting to know more about the person behind the current version they see. They become curious about the experiences that influence your values, your outlook on life, and the person you have become. The psychology behind this is powerful. When someone starts developing deeper feelings, they often want a more complete picture of who you are. Surface-level attraction focuses on what is visible today. Emotional attachment seeks understanding. It wants context. It wants to know the story behind the smile, the confidence, the resilience, and even the vulnerabilities. A man who is falling in love is often trying to understand not only your present, but also the path that brought you there. This is why he may ask questions about your childhood, your family, your past relationships, your biggest life lessons, or the moments that changed you. He may want to know what challenges you've overcome, what experiences made you stronger, and what events taught you the most about yourself. These questions are often less about gathering facts and more about understanding your character. Many women mistakenly assume these conversations are merely casual. But there is a significant difference between someone asking out of simple curiosity and someone asking because they genuinely care. A man who is emotionally invested usually listens carefully. He remembers details. He asks follow-up questions. He wants to understand how certain experiences affected you and what you learned from them. His focus is not just on the event itself, but on what it reveals about you as a person. Another reason these questions matter is that they reflect emotional intimacy. Emotional intimacy grows when people begin sharing parts of themselves that are not visible on the surface. Anyone can learn basic information about a person. Far fewer people take the time to understand their deeper experiences, struggles, and personal growth. When a man becomes interested in these aspects of your life, he is often seeking a connection that goes beyond attraction. This curiosity also demonstrates respect. By asking about your experiences, he is acknowledging that your life story matters. He recognizes that the person standing in front of him was shaped by countless moments, decisions, victories, and challenges. He wants to understand those influences because he values who you are. In many cases, a man who is developing strong feelings is also evaluating compatibility. He wants to understand how you view relationships, how you handle adversity, what values guide your decisions, and what lessons have shaped your perspective on life. These insights help him imagine what a deeper partnership with you might look like. Perhaps most importantly, asking about your past often reflects a desire to know the real you. Not the version presented to the world, but the person beneath the surface, the hopes, fears, lessons, and experiences that define your character. This level of interest usually requires emotional investment because it takes time, attention, and genuine care. Love often begins with attraction, but it grows through understanding. And understanding requires curiosity about the experiences that made someone who they are today. Because when a man wants to know your story, he may be doing much more than learning about your past. He may be trying to understand the woman he is slowly falling in love with. Lessons. One of the overlooked signs that a man may be developing deep feelings is when he becomes interested in how you handle life's difficult moments. Most people pay attention when a man asks about your hobbies, your interests, your favorite places, or your future dreams. Those questions are important, but they often reveal only part of the picture. A man who is beginning to imagine a deeper connection frequently becomes curious about something more meaningful, how you respond when life does not go according to plan. At first, these questions may seem ordinary. He might ask how you deal with stress, how you handled a difficult period in your life, what you learned from a major setback, or how you respond when things become overwhelming. Many women assume he is simply making conversation. What they often miss is that these questions reveal a growing interest in emotional compatibility. The psychology behind this is simple. When a man starts caring deeply about someone, he usually stops evaluating the relationship based only on good moments. Anyone can enjoy life when everything is easy. Anyone can be cheerful when circumstances are perfect. But lasting relationships are built during challenges, setbacks, disappointments, and unexpected difficulties. A man who is falling in love often begins wondering what life would look like with you during those moments as well. This does not mean he is searching for perfection. In fact, emotionally mature men understand that everyone faces struggles. What often matters more is how a person responds to those struggles. Does she communicate openly? Does she remain respectful during disagreements? Does she look for solutions when problems arise? Does she take responsibility when necessary? These qualities reveal emotional character in ways that everyday conversations cannot. When a man asks about difficult experiences from your past, he is often trying to understand your resilience. Resilience is one of the most attractive qualities a person can possess because it reflects strength, adaptability, and emotional maturity. Life inevitably brings challenges, and many people want a partner who can face those challenges with courage rather than becoming overwhelmed by them. Another reason these questions are significant is that they reveal his growing investment in the relationship. A man who sees a connection as temporary may focus primarily on enjoyment and attraction. A man who is imagining a future often becomes interested in the practical side of compatibility. He wants to understand how you approach conflict, stress, uncertainty, and adversity because these experiences shape the long-term health of a relationship. Many women underestimate how important emotional stability can be. Physical attraction may create initial interest, but emotional security often determines whether that interest grows into something deeper. When a man sees that a woman can navigate difficult situations with grace, patience, and self-awareness, he often feels more confident about building a future with her. It is also important to notice how he responds to your answers. A man who is genuinely interested does not simply ask the question and move on. He listens carefully. He pays attention to your perspective. He wants to understand what those experiences taught you and how they shaped your outlook on life. His curiosity reflects respect because he values your experiences and recognizes that they have contributed to the person you are today. These conversations often create deeper intimacy as well. Talking about challenges requires vulnerability. It requires honesty. When two people share meaningful experiences and life lessons, they begin moving beyond surface-level attraction into genuine emotional connection. Trust grows because both individuals feel seen and understood. Perhaps most importantly, these questions reveal that he is thinking beyond the excitement of the present moment. He is considering the reality of a partnership. He understands that every meaningful relationship will eventually face obstacles, and he wants to know whether the two of you could navigate those obstacles together. Love is not only about enjoying the sunshine, it is also about knowing who will stand beside you when the storms arrive. Because when a man wants to understand how you handle life's hardest moments, he may be quietly imagining whether the two of you could face the future as a team. One of the strongest signs that a man may be falling in love is when he starts asking what makes you feel loved, appreciated, and emotionally secure. This is a question that goes far beyond casual interest. It moves beyond attraction, chemistry, and enjoyable conversation into something much deeper. When a man becomes curious about what you need in order to feel valued and cared for, he is often showing that your emotional well-being has started to matter to him in a meaningful way. Many women overlook this sign because the questions are not always direct. He may not sit down and say, "Tell me exactly how to love you." Instead, his curiosity often appears in smaller ways. He may ask what makes you feel supported during difficult times. He may wonder what qualities you value most in a relationship. He may ask about things that made you feel appreciated in the past, or things that made you feel disconnected. These questions may seem simple on the surface, but they often reveal a man who is trying to understand how to make you happy. The psychology behind this is powerful. When people develop deep feelings, they naturally become more attentive to the emotional experience of the person they care about. Their focus shifts from simply enjoying the relationship to contributing to it. They begin asking themselves questions like, what makes her feel valued? What helps her feel secure? What can I do to strengthen this connection? These thoughts reflect emotional investment because they require empathy, attention, and genuine care. A man who is only casually interested is often focused primarily on his own experience. He enjoys spending time with you, enjoys the attraction, and enjoys the companionship. A man who is falling in love often starts paying attention to your experience as well. Your happiness becomes important. Your comfort becomes important. Your emotional needs become something he genuinely wants to understand. This desire to understand is significant because healthy love is not built on assumptions. Every person experiences affection differently. What makes one person feel loved may not have the same effect on someone else. Some people feel valued through quality time. Others feel appreciated through thoughtful actions, encouraging words, shared experiences, or emotional support. A man who asks questions about these things is often trying to learn how to connect with you more effectively. Another reason these questions matter is that they demonstrate effort. Effort is one of the clearest indicators of emotional attachment. It is easy to enjoy someone's company when everything is simple. It requires a deeper level of care to actively seek understanding. When a man wants to know what matters to you emotionally, he is investing time and energy into building a stronger connection. It is also important to notice what happens after the conversation. A man who is emotionally invested usually remembers the answers. He pays attention. He may adjust his behavior based on what he learns. If you mention that thoughtful gestures mean a lot to you, he may begin incorporating them naturally. If you explain that honesty and communication help you feel secure, he may become more intentional about those areas. These actions reveal that he was not simply asking questions for the sake of conversation. He was listening because the answers mattered. Perhaps the most meaningful aspect of all is that these questions reflect a desire to make the relationship stronger. Love is not only about receiving affection. It is also about understanding how to give it in a way that is meaningful to the other person. When a man starts exploring what makes you feel loved and appreciated, he is often thinking like a partner rather than simply a romantic interest. This level of curiosity creates emotional intimacy because it communicates something important. Your feelings matter to me. Few messages are more powerful than that. When someone genuinely wants to understand your heart, it often means they are becoming emotionally connected to it. Because when a man starts asking what makes you feel loved, he may already be looking for ways to love you better. One of the most powerful yet overlooked signs that a man may be falling in love is a subtle change in the way he talks about the future. Most people pay attention to grand romantic gestures, emotional confessions, or dramatic declarations of love. But often, deep feelings reveal themselves long before those moments arrive. They appear in everyday conversations hidden inside ordinary questions. One of the clearest examples is when his language begins shifting from you and I to we. At first, the change may be so subtle that it goes unnoticed. He might ask, "What should we do this weekend?" Or "Where should we go when we finally get some free time?" Perhaps he mentions a future event and naturally includes you in the picture. Maybe he talks about a holiday, a trip, a project, or even a simple activity and automatically assumes your involvement. These moments may seem insignificant, but psychologically they often reveal something much deeper. The human mind tends to focus on what matters most. When someone occupies a meaningful place in our thoughts, they naturally become part of how we imagine the future. A man who is emotionally attached no longer sees life solely through the lens of his own plans. He starts visualizing experiences, goals, and moments that include another person. Without even realizing it, his perspective begins expanding from individual thinking to shared thinking. The psychology behind this is fascinating. Before emotional attachment develops, people typically think independently. Their plans revolve around their own schedule, goals, and priorities. As feelings deepen, however, the brain begins creating a more connected picture of the future. This is not necessarily a conscious decision. It often happens naturally because emotional investment causes someone to consider how another person fits into their life. This is why future-oriented questions involving we carry so much significance. A man who asks, "What kind of places would we enjoy visiting together?" is thinking differently from a man who simply asks where you like to travel. A man who says, "What should we do during the holidays?" is subtly placing you inside his future experiences. These questions often reveal that he is no longer viewing the relationship as something separate from his life plans. Instead, the relationship is becoming part of those plans. Many women miss this sign because the questions themselves seem casual. They may assume he is simply being friendly or making conversation. What often goes unnoticed is the pattern. The more emotionally attached a man becomes, the more frequently shared language begins appearing. It becomes natural for him to imagine future experiences as something the two of you might enjoy together. Another reason this behavior matters is that it reflects comfort and emotional security. When someone starts including another person in future plans, they are revealing trust. They are expressing confidence that the connection will continue. They are no longer focused only on today's interaction. They are thinking ahead because they hope the relationship remains part of their life. This shift also reflects emotional investment. People generally do not build mental pictures around someone they see as temporary. They may enjoy spending time together, but they do not naturally create future scenarios involving that person. When a man begins imagining shared experiences weeks, months, or even years down the road, it often indicates that his feelings are becoming more serious. It is also important to pay attention to the enthusiasm behind these conversations. A man who is emotionally invested often seems excited when discussing future possibilities. He enjoys imagining experiences together. He asks questions about preferences, interests, and goals because he wants those future experiences to be meaningful for both of you. His curiosity reflects genuine interest in creating a shared journey rather than simply passing time. Perhaps the most beautiful part of all is that these questions often appear before love is openly expressed. Long before someone says, "I love you," they may already be showing it through their mindset. They begin creating space for another person in their plans, their decisions, and their vision of the future. Because when a man's questions start including we, instead of just you, he may already be imagining a future where the two of you belong in the same story.